Welcome back to No Party with B and J. In the last chapter, we showed how the watchdogs were taken off the board. Today, we're talking about the next phase of the blueprint, deregulation. Once you fire the referees, the next move is simple. Rewrite the rule book so the 1% can do whatever they want.
And this isn't past tense. This is happening right now. While folks are arguing about personalities, the administration is dropping executive orders, gun protection, and pushing the biggest deregulatory wave we've seen in modern history.
Let's start with the headline move. Earlier this year, Trump signed an executive order that says for every one new regulation, 10 existing regulations have to be eliminated.
That sounds cute. And a sound bite. Cut red tape. But in real life, that means safety rules, pollution rules, bank rules, consumer protection, worker protection, all on the chopping block at the same time.
And that order right there is not just a suggestion. Agencies have to go hunting for rules to kill just to stay in compliance with the president's deregulation quota.
Let's talk about the Environmental Protection Agency. Because if you want to see deregulation in real time, Justin, that's ground zero.
Back in March, the EPA bragged about what they called the most consequential day of deregulation in U.S. history. 31 actions hit at one time, all aimed at rolling back environmental and climate protections.
And now, as we're recording this right here, Justin, they've moved to a very stricter suit standards. Rules mean to limit deadly particulate pollution that causes thousands of premature deaths every year.
So when we say deregulation, they're not talking about paperwork. They're talking about the air in your lungs.
The air we breathe
every day.
Now, let's slide over to money. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the agencies that's supposed to protect people from predatory banks, shady lenders, and financial scams.
In the last few months, the CFPB has been on a tear, withdrawing guidance and rolling back protections. 67 guidance documents gone. Fair lending protections weakened. Fintech and crypto oversight dialed down, and rules around junk fees and credit reporting are being softened.
Okay, and who do you think is buying that crypto? I think our man at the top, on his kids are anyway. On top of that, their acting director has openly talked about wanting to roll the rule back and eventually shut it down.
So the one agency built after the 2008 crash to stop the next crash, they're quietly taking its teeth out.
And while the cops on Wall Street are being declawed, the banks themselves are getting lighter leashes.
The FDIC just approved new rules easing leverage requirements for big banks, letting them hold less capital in reserve and cutting overall capital levels by billions of dollars.
Translation, in the name of growth, we're putting the system closer to the edge again. If something goes wrong, the 1% get bailed out, and regular people get wiped out. Just like last time. In 2008, that was one of the biggest crashes ever.
Scary. All right, Brenda. Now let's talk about work. OSHA and the Department of Labor.
This summer, OSHA dropped over 24 proposed regulatory rules. Some of them modernized language, but others rolled back reporting requirements for workplace injuries and softened long-standing safety obligations for employers.
At the same time, the Labor Department's new regulatory agenda leans hard on reducing compliance costs and rolling back wage rules, including plans to rescind higher minimum wage requirements for federal contracts.
Whoa. So when they say free in business, part of what that means, less pay, less protection, and more risk for you, the worker.
If you listen to the speeches, deregulation sounds like a magic word. Cut red tape, unleash prosperity, let the market work.
But if you look at the receipts, the cuts are not random. They're concentrated in four places. Environmental rule that cost big polluters money, financial rules that restrict banks and fintech, labor rules that protect wages and your safety, consumer rules that stop the scams and abuses about your money.
Those are all areas where the 1% make their money. So every cut is a transfer of risk from the top to everybody else.
Put this together with what you already have covered. First, education gets weakened, so people don't have the tools to see what's happening. Second, watchdogs get dismantled, so there's nobody left to enforce the rules. Now the rules themselves are being shredded in finance, environment, labor, and consumer protection.
Brenda, that is not chaos. That is a sequence.
You're not going to see most of this on a nightly news. You might catch one story about soot or one story about some bank rule, but nobody's putting these pieces together, Justin.
That's why we call this underground news. We're not chasing the drama of the day. We're following the paperwork, the executive orders, the rollbacks, the guidance withdrawals, the stuff that actually changes your life when the cameras are off.
When a government promises to unleash prosperity by cutting regulations, the first question that you should ask is prosperity for who?
Because if the result is dirtier air, weaker banks, more dangerous workplaces, and fewer protections from scams, and the only people smiling are the ones at the top, that is not deregulation.
That's a controlled demolition.
This has been No Parting with me and Jay. We'll catch you on the other side.
What's up, everybody? Gather round, let's ignite. It's the sensible thinker shining true tonight. With your host Brenda and Justin in the mix, combo deeper than an anchor.